gonna put money in your pocket. That crypto wallet, that bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 My lady and I got my shine. Money in my pocket and we're feeling fine. Radio's loud and we're playing Sublime. I think it's gonna be a good day, my oh my. I can't believe I made it this far, it's a miracle. Floating in the clouds now, used to be miserable. Never looking back since I changed my ways. I'm on that good life tip today. I'm looking for the good life, good life. Sitting on top of the world, I wanna be shining like diamonds and pearls. I want you to go there with me, girl. I'm looking for the good life, good life. Baby, we can have it all. We can make love by the waterfalls. I'm living that good life after all. Yeah. La da da da, good life, sitting by the fire. La da day, good life, feeling that breeze.
What is going on, everybody? I hope you're having a great morning. My name is Bleeves. This is Breakfast with Bleeves, where we're going to get into all the chart action, all the prices, all of the news that you know and love about the crypto space. We're going to try to figure out what is going on in this crazy ride that we call cryptocurrency as all of the governments start to attack every which way. By the way, we've got another government that has entered the arena to try to suppress cryptocurrency yet again because they just can't stop themselves. They just can't quit. They just can't give it up. They have to have control over you. And guys, it's very crazy at this point when you really start to put your finger on the pulse, so to speak, the length that these people will go to in order to prevent you from having financial success. They are dedicated to your failure. They are dedicated. They don't want your success. They want it to be at their terms, under their umbrella, and it's spreading everywhere. So good luck to everybody. Good morning to everybody. And now that I've kind of beat up on the state of the world for just a second, let's go back over here and let's look at the early morning pre-market prices. And you can see Dow futures up 226 and 98 on NASDAQ. So another good implied open for the stock exchange. And we look at the we look at the Dow Jones over here. We saw that big pump yesterday, 323 points. Now we're going to get another run. Maybe this continues on through the day because there's strength everywhere. And it looks like a lot of people that were previously very, very, very risk averse are suddenly willing to take on a lot of risk. What does that mean, by the way, when you start to see all of these guys who a week ago or a month ago absolutely hated risk and couldn't stand the thought of it? What do you think it means when all of this sudden they're like, yeah, we'll take on that risk? Something is brewing, and these guys know something that we don't. Of course, they're on the inside, we're on the outside kind of looking in. So, we'll have to figure out what it is. But I as you look at this and as you just kind of break down what is happening around here, you start to get a little bit weirded out by it because I don't know. These guys are they are what they are, I guess. But are we in altcoin season? Not even close. It's getting worse and worse and worse. Why is it getting worse and worse? Well, let's go over there and talk about that because Bitcoin is pumping again, 28,631. Ethereum 1803, not having as good a run as Bitcoin. So the dominance factor came back into play. Bitcoin dominance is at 46.6. That's down from 46.8 yesterday, but still up and significant. Let's go over here and let's look at the chart. If you go to the 1 hour and let's kind of zoom out, you can see right here in the early hours at last night, 29,175 is where Bitcoin ran after running all the way up there it came down perfectly to our little line that we've been using as a support resistance line for this this trend line that we've had out here for this long period of time. Unbelievable that it just came right back down to that trend line and then started to move on a little bit more, right? And then here we are. Now, if you just consider something here, here we are, right? We're moving in an upward fashion. That's a good sign in the short term. Now, what happens when you move up for too long? You come back down. So you have to consider that we are on a correction. But let's also remember this purple right here, I just changed the color of it because I was tired of talking about golden pockets. But this is the golden pocket, right? We're no longer just trending inside this golden pocket. We've broken out of the golden pocket. We are now trading and trending inside this new line, getting us to 30,000 from the people who brought you, hey, you're not getting to 30,000, dude. It's not going to happen. Not this year. From the people that brought you that bullshit, here we are just on the verge, just on the precipice of, we are a pump away from 30,000. Now, imagine how many shorts are about to get wrecked in this little range right here. Just consider there was such a pump right here that, let's go back here and let's look at it and let's take a little stock of this. And we're going to do, this should cover the year. And what is the highest price that we had so far this year? Oh yeah, it was today. So one thing to recognize is these people have not been right at any point, right? And we do have, by the way, we should acknowledge here at least that curvature that happened right there, that was a little concerning. That was an opportunity for some downside action. Did we get that downside action? I mean, you could argue that we came down here and tested the bottom of this channel for just a little while, but in the end, all we did was range and pump. So what's going to happen again? Range and pump. We're going to find out whether or not we're going to break through this level. Now, if we don't break through this level, then and I would be nervous right now. I'm kind of nervous about putting a short in at this point. Now, normally I would say this is a great opportunity and a great place to put it in, but anybody who saw this 28.6, which is what I think I was telling some people last night, I wanted to enter a short at 28.6 last night. And I kept looking at it and I'm like, you know what? I don't think this is right. I think this market is going to create a new high. I think we're headed into this green area. This market does not seem to want to stop. All we're doing is just creating more platforms in which to spring off of and to attack these levels. So why wouldn't we just continue to do that? Now, look at the structure back here. What you saw here was a move to the upside, right? Move to the upside, and then a spike in here, which caused a big move to the downside, right? So you got another try over here, which sparked a longer move to the downside. Then you got a move towards the upside. Then we got this event. This was the Fed. This was the FOMC, and this was everything that was happening where the American market went crazy yet again. Then we got this nice little pump coming back up here. Now we've got structure as we sit right here, right under this level. We just took a test of it, and all we did was come back to the structure. Now, this was, you can call this the structure the last time, right? We punched into this area, and then what happened? It caused a capitulation all the way down to 26.6. But guess what? That didn't happen again. What happened this time is we just came back to that structure, which means that this market is ready for a new level. So, and here's the thing. The U.S. market, which has been very lackadaisical and has been very averse to crypto investment for a while. And by the way, you can make the argument that they're doing that the American market is involved deeply into cryptocurrency, and that is a fair argument to make. There's still, even though I'm saying this, there's still a lot of American money still in this market. But the point to it overall is a lot of the money that could be there is not there. And today happens to be one of those days where it just looks like and gives the appearance that this could be one of those days where you just see the absolute bum rush because people want 30,000 and there's a point to prove, and they want to start popping some people. Remember, there's going to be a massive amount of fighting here at 29.5 because that's going to be a stop area for a lot of people. And then there's going to be a huge sell off at 30,000. If I were, look, here's what I would say. if you were looking at the perfect place to run a short, 30,000 is that one. And if you're looking to run a short, then let me tell you, BitGet, definitely the place to go. And if you're worried about your internet security, NordVPN, signing up for these helps me out tremendously, as does signing up over here for crypto.com or MEXC. All of these certainly help me to continue to provide you with the content that I do. If you appreciate the content, then please at least consider looking at my sponsors, especially BitGet and NordVPN right now. They absolutely help tremendously. So I think we run to 30,000. If we run into this 30,000, then this is the opportunity to do just a massive, like, I think that there's some capitulation needed, right? That's what we need to talk about. So we have to have some capitulation before we make the next move, right? Where's the capitulation going to be? Well, 25,560 right now, because this 200 weekly is probably the spot. Like, if you kind of zoom out and you just kind of look at the way cryptos move, they tend to hug these lines for some time. You kind of see here, like, it pumps above it from time to time, and you kind of lose sight of it, but it always kind of catches up, and then you have these little range crossovers, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a lot of movement back to these lines. So at some point, we're going to touch this weekly moving average. Now, how high that weekly moving average gets, that's going to be, that's going to be a question that we'll need to ask at some point later on. But it continues to move to the upside, and the fact that it's moving to the upside, it tends to make me think that we're going to have a collision course with it at some point. And to be fair, just imagine. Damn it, did it again. Just imagine on this 200 weekly MA right here. Imagine the level of shorting coming down here. This is like 25%, I would say. Imagine you took a short here on some leverage for a significant amount, betting that it's going to come down into this level. Just imagine what you would pull in on a short from that level. And by the way, I'm not imagining, that's what I'm doing. So on MEXC, I'm setting up a short at 30,000 because I do think that we're going to hit 30,000, right? So I'm going to move it's a small amount, but I'm going to do a high amount of leverage because I know that it's going to absolutely bomb out when it hits there. Might get a pump through it, but there's going to be a lot of stuff triggered at 30,000. So I don't feel like pumping above it is going to stop me out at any point. So I feel like that's a great place to put it at 30,000. So I'm going to go 30,000. And then at that point, I'm just going to ride it down. And I think in this one, I'm going to do like a 50X on, I'm not going to tell you the amount because I don't like talking about, like, I'm not going to like talking about shorting, but I'm going to go significantly on this one and bet that we do retrace quite a bit down here because I do think that there's an opportunity right here. If you have 10 or 20 Bitcoin to leverage this position all the way down into that 25 range. So I think that's a significant opportunity. So I'm going to be paying attention to that level. But let's move on with the news. Denmark declares Bitcoin tax. 4 billion Bitcoin options face expiry. This is two pieces of news, but let's go over this. According to cryptocurrency reporter Colin Wu, 141,000 Bitcoin options worth $4 billion are set to expire very soon. The contracts carry a put call ratio of 0.74 and a max pain point of 24,000. So, apart from Bitcoin, 1.746 million Ethereum options worth 3.1 billion are nearing an expiration. The ETH contracts have a put call ratio of 0.33 with a max pain point of 1600. The put call ratio is a popular metric in options trading that shows the balance between put options and call options. Put options are bear bets while call options are bullish. The max pain point, on the other hand, is when option owners will experience the greatest financial loss. As the financial year comes to the end, the Danish Supreme Court has ruled that Bitcoin profits are taxable. The ruling in the lower courts were upheld, which concluded that the total digital currency is speculative in nature. The Supreme Court in Copenhagen declared on Thursday, March 30th. In one instance, gains from the sale of Bitcoin that had been bought were involved, whereas in the other, it was a selling of digital money that had been mined, the court stated. The Supreme Court assumes that Bitcoin is generally only acquired with the view of being sold and to a limited extent to be used as a means of payment. So if you're in Denmark, guess what? You're about to get taxed. But these expiries right now, this is going to be very, very interesting because we're going to see what happens, right here. So this is, I think this is significant. And with put call, with the numbers being what they are, you might be getting a little bit nervous. Would certainly like to see that a little bit better of a ratio, but let's move on. Shiba Inu, Shibarium scanners. This is very, very weird news, by the way. We're going to talk about Shibarium for just a second here. Shibarium scanners, PuppyScan, which is puppyscan.io, which is the Shibarium scanner, reaches 100,000 wallets, which is a significant sort of development, right? So come over here to Lucy, and we got the data right here that was pulled. 100,122 wallets on the beta. This is not real. It's not live. This is just a beta test net. 194,000 transactions, right? Well, let's go back and let's break that down, right? So on the transactions, on March 27, there were 41,688 transactions. March 28th, there were 144,458 transactions. However, yesterday, there were only 3,118 transactions. Now, there could be, and there could have been, something wrong on Shibarium where they stopped testing for a little while. So maybe, but moreover, the beta testnet has so far processed 195,000 transactions with an average block time of 5 seconds. The popularity of the testnet is also visible in the number of transactions. Daily transactions have grown significantly in the last couple of days, although the metric did take a dip yesterday. So, and are we translating that to price right now? Well, not yet, but I'm going to show you the SHIB chart real quick, and hopefully you're going to see what I'm seeing over here. Now, it's just the hour chart. It's not a big one, but in the next few hours, it really looks like we're about to see some crossover on the 50-day SMA over the 200 SMA. Now, when that happens, historically, that leads to this big move right here. We're going to zoom this out just a little bit more, but as you can see right here, when we get that move, we get that move. When we come back down here, when we get those moves, we get upward moves. When we get that move down here, we get a big upward move on this one. But generally speaking, when you cross over, that's a bullish signal, and that does mean, or should tend to mean, that the price is scheduled or predicted to go up. So that move is about to happen right here. And here's the cool thing. This is not happening. This is not happening right now on a pump, right? This is happening while it's consolidating to the side. So I would think that in the next few hours, you might see a little bit of a move coming out of SHIB, maybe even all the way up to this 1140 range. I don't think it goes beyond 1140, 1146 right here. I think that, that represents kind of the top end of what's going to happen, if anything. But if we're just kind of, if we're just taking a shot here, then that's an 8% move. And if you don't want 8% off of your return, then I don't know what's wrong with you. But it just seems like there is something at play here that's going to create, a nice little pump. So it could be even bigger, by the way. Let's zoom out here and recognize that, the reason that I'm creating this range is only for the month of March. February, January, all the way back here, we were trading at a much higher level. So it is entirely possible that this move, bullish, by the way, that this bullish crossover ends up pumping its way up quite a bit higher. So that does exist, that possibility. So, but let's move on. Bitcoin hits 29,000, but traders prepare for more volatility on Friday. Bitcoin price saw an eye-catching move today, rising $810 in 30 minutes to reach a new yearly high of 29,182, only to fall to 28,080 in a very short period of time. At press time, Bitcoin showed renewed strength and was trading at 28,586. Analyst Skew has several explanations for the puzzling movement. Aggregate CBD and Delta show there was a quick push into spot selling liquidity that was filled. In addition, the market showed a high premium under perps, meaning that perpetuals led the price and the spot market began to sell. Reaction is quick rally and sell-off as crowd perps longs to get caught on the downside volatility. Explains the analyst, who also had another explanation in store. Looking at Bitcoin's perp CVD buckets and delta orders, the analyst noted increased whale movements that likely led to the move. We're in a whale town today, it seems. The push-up was clearly orchestrated by whales and sold by whales. The odd one here are the high leverage traders trying to short to zero and long to 100K LOL. Bitcoin, Binance, market CVDs, and Delta 15-minute trend still intact, bullish till we lose that trend. So, nothing changed, by the way. And to be fair, like, you could see this in this. Look at the chart back here again. This is the 1 hour chart over here. Remember, we're still pumping upwards and we're still moving in this positive fashion. But this move right here goes up 3% in a short period of time and then goes down 3% in a short period of time. Clearly an orchestrated move. Like, it doesn't happen with this sort of volume unless it's something that's planned, right? For several reasons at once, tomorrow could see huge volatility. The first reasons are the Bitcoin options, which have enjoyed rising popularity the past few weeks. Tomorrow is the quarterly settlement date, and the quarterly contracts are currently trading very actively, with short-term implied volatility continuing to rise up nearly 10% in one day. Remember, liquidity is low in Bitcoin right now. When liquidity is low, volatility is going to be high. A total of 141,000 Bitcoin options, which we just talked about, are set to expire with a call push ratio of 0.73, a national value of 3.8 billion. The largest options exchange on Bitcoin, Deribit, shared via Twitter. That's what they have right here. From a macroeconomic perspective, the release of the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index by the Bureau of Economic Analysis at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the most important event of the week. PCE is the Fed's preferred metric to gauge inflation and is therefore of great importance. So we could have just a moonshot if this comes in big, right? By the way, if you haven't seen this already, Love Hate Inu presale over 2 million, the next big meme coin. I don't know that to be the case or anything, but they did reach out to me. I do think that I'm going to make some content with them. But they are on Bitcoin, newsbtc.com. So that gave me a little confidence in what it is that they're doing. So probably going to make some content on that, and we'll see it very soon. First Mover America's investors dig risk again. That's important. We're starting to see investors. You can see right here, crypto investors are fleeing Circle Internet Financial's USDC stablecoin. Matter of fact, to the tune of like $10 billion from USDC to USDT in the last month. And this over here, we're going to talk about over here. OKX is going to return 157 million in frozen FTX funds. So OKX, which by the way is recently partnered with Volt, is returning 157 million dollars to FTX for their bankruptcy. And they're turning it over to the bankruptcy custodians. So that is significant right there, because it's just another resource that Sam Bankman-Fried got money over here, and it's all being returned. And like every day is the shit show continues. Now, bad news, crypto.com price looks set to fall after this bearish signal. So while the price has increased, it failed to break out from the long-term descending resistance line. Despite failing to break out, Crow validated the 0.065 horizontal area as support. That's the green icon down here. At that time, a decisive movement is expected to occur. If the crypto.com price breakout, it could increase to the next resistance of 11.8 cents. However, a fall to 3.5 could transpire if it breaks down. While the weekly RSI is increasing, it is still below 50 and has not generated any bullish divergence. And that's crazy, by the way. Just imagine that, if you will. No bullish divergence on crypto.com. Now, here's what that means to me. At some point, crypto.com is going to break out and the Crow token is going to get on a run. The lower it goes, the more violent that move is going to be when it actually does have a breakout. Now, this entire crypto market has been on the run, and we've been seeing that. And what we have not seen in that same period of time, to some extent, we've seen it, but to a large extent, I mean, let's come back here. And we're going to go to January. This is January, right? And What is the increase on Crow for that period of time? It's only 69%. A lot of these altcoins are in the hundreds of percent right now, right? And remember, this is the high over here was in February. So Bitcoin is trading at an all-time high, or at least a local high or a yearly high right now. But when you look at Crow, Crow is only up at this point 30% on the year. Now, couple that by going over here, you look at coin market cap just to get an idea on year-to-date pumps here. And there's giant amounts of pumps, of course. But you got to go way down here. This is a top 100, by the way. Okay. And you got to go way down here before you start finding Crow down here towards the bottom with only a 21.71% increase over the course of the year so far. Now, listen, a return of 21% on any investment is magnificent. I'm not saying that it's not. Anything above 20% at any point could potentially be for a seasoned veteran with a lot of capital to work with. That is a life-changing, that is a gigantic move. You can see here, Huobi's down 28%. Lunk is down 20%. Trust Wallet is down 15%. Toncoin, 9%. You know, there's not a lot of real bad, but there are some, right? Arbitrum not long enough in order to do anything. And then ApeCoin not really pumping. And then you see mostly USDs, right? But then you get into like Monero, XMR, Pax Gold, Dogecoin not pumping. There's a lot of stuff out here just not pumping right now. Crow is at the bottom of that level. And as you come up here and you start looking at, what's pumping, right? What's pumping? Conflux, which is the Chinese exchange, Singularity Net, which is the AI marketplace, Stacks, which is the Bitcoin smart contract provider, APT, Render, Mask, Immutable X, GRT, which we're using every time we do graph trading, Optimism, Phantom, Didex, Lido DAO, Rocket Pool. Lido DAO and Rocket Pool basically the same thing, liquidity staking pools. And they're Solana, Neo, Fractshare, like all of these are just having some really good runs. And the one thing that you're noticing is they're in the news. And as you start going down here and you start finding like Cardano, ADA, Avalanche, you're going to find there's a lot more pump happening out of all of these things, even 50% for Ethereum. Just for some reason, Crow has not caught on. And I'm really kind of overstating it right now because when it does make a run, it's going to shoot up to the top of this list. Because listen, crypto.com, as it moves across mass adoption, we're going to start to see just a massive move by crypto.com, and it's coming. It's just taking a little bit longer than one would originally might have thought. Next up, 852 million in Ethereum, Polygon, Phantom, and additional altcoins have left Binance following the CFTC lawsuit. Now, I gotta say this because it's not because I give a shit. Like I told you, Binance. I told you CZ Binance was who I think he is. A lot of you guys have been like, "No, bro, he's not a bad guy." Blah blah. Well, they have the recordings. They have the chat transcripts. They have all the information that they actually would need to show that he's doing everything that they said that he's doing. Now, if he's breaking laws in order to make money, then he's not the good person that everybody thought. Is he good for the space? That's still to be determined. I don't know, right? But at this point, it's been something of a disaster. So a lot of money has been outflowing out of Binance over the last little while. Of course, they have something around anywhere between 40 and 60 billion in remaining capital. So they're going to be fine. But this is a difficult moment for Binance. I'm interested to see how they recover. I'm also interested to see if they're ever able to do business in the United States again. And this is going to be it's a very interesting thing. And we've got more dip to go. We got way more dip to go on Binance. This is not the end of the outflow on Binance. And at what point does it become crippled? So my advice to you is get your money off of Binance, accept what you're willing to lose while trading. Does that mean that there will ever be a problem? And the answer to that is no. It doesn't mean that there's ever going to be a problem, right? It doesn't mean that they don't have capital. This is their Binance holds $63 billion in their publicly disclosed wallets, including 19 billion in USDT, 14.5 billion in Bitcoin, 7.5 billion in ETH. Remember, so they're still pretty liquid. So any runs on them are going to be met with the ability to get their money out. Look, you're going to be fine. I think. I don't see any reason, unless there's a mass exodus and a real legitimate bank run, you're going to be fine with Binance. But you should always be safe and not sorry. Everybody thought the same thing about FTX, and everybody can look now and go, "Oh, it's not the same." Yeah, it is. It's the exact goddamn same. We all thought Sam Bankman-Fried was this noble guy that was doing all this cool stuff across the world, making all these donations, blah, 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 blah. He's helping to write laws, et cetera, et cetera. And then look what ended up there. So I don't think that the news doesn't change at some point. Now, again, that doesn't mean in the long term, CZ Binance is not good for, is not good for the space. It doesn't mean that he's not good for the space overall. However, listen, there are people out here like this right here, believes fudding Binance big time. No, I'm telling you what he actually did, what actually happened, what's going to happen, and why you should be very careful about your money. I don't give a shit about CZ Binance. CZ Binance, I told before, you don't become billionaires. You don't get $63 billion by being good people. And at the end of this, I'm more worried about you and your money. I don't give a shit about Binance and their money. I'm worried about if you're listening to me and you're watching me for any length of time, I'm worried about your money, and your money should be safe. So if you have your money on Binance, my recommendation for anybody that has that is only put on there what you're willing to trade. Now, does that make me a fudder against Binance? No, that's stupid. What's smart is you putting your money into a decentralized wallet so that you are not jeopardized and your money's not jeopardized, because again, the same shit happened with FTX. The same shit happened with many different cryptos and places, and Voyager and Three Arrows Capital and Celsius and all of these different places, and Genesis just recently. All of these different places had your crypto. They had custody. Take your money off of Binance and only put on there what you can afford to lose and what you are trading. That's the way that it should work anyway. Binance, by the way, they don't make any money off of you leaving your money on the exchange. That's just increasing your risk. The way that they make money is from fees. That's the good part about Binance. Binance, they don't take your funds and they don't use your funds to invest in other places. So from that concept, that this is not Alameda research. It's not the same thing, but it is a risk no matter what. So be aware of what your risks are and make sure that you manage your risk. Now, if you decide to leave your money on, that's on you, man. Like, you do you. But to me, I would keep my money in a much safer DeFi place. All my money's in DeFi. I have $500 on MEXC. I have a couple $1,000s on crypto.com. I have a couple $1,000s on Coinbase. I have a couple $1,000s in different places. So all of those, I have a few bucks on every one of those places. Why? Because I don't trust them with my money. I trust me with my money, because it doesn't make any sense to just hold it there. So my recommendation is get your money into your DeFi wallet so that you have custody. Stop giving custody to somebody else, especially when the federal government and all these different assholes are out here looking for blood. So don't lose money over something silly. And then finally, Shiba Inu. This got to be said. Lost 4 holders in the last hour. Lost 27,000 holders in the last day, and 3,000 in the last month. So this right here would be an indication of a big problem. This is an indication of a massive issue going on with Shiba right now. And how do you, trust anything that's DeFi, just anything that's DeFi. And look, put all your money. you can put as much money as you want on there for trading. Like that's not that's how they make their money. And I don't have a problem with them making money. I just have a problem with you not controlling your crypto. And everybody should at this point. We're trusting too much in these centralized places. This is the biggest problem, right? In the crypto space, is that you give your money to again, a company like FTX, or you give your money to Genesis, or you give your money to Voyager Digital, or you give it to 3 years. You give your money to somebody and they control it, and you don't control it anymore. And then if something bad happens, then you can't get it back. That's that's difficult. So anyway, 27,000 investors lost in the last one day, and 3,000 lost in the last month. Now, that just means that there was a good run. It was up 24,000 until yesterday. Not sure what happened yesterday, but as you can remember, by the way, when we were talking about this just a little while ago, we were looking at only 3,000 transactions on Shibarium. So it could have had something to do with Shibarium not being able to do transactions or something like that. So, you know, it's entirely possible. Now over here, Floki in the last hour lost 2 holders and lost 58 in the last one day. So they're still up on the month, but what that means to me, or what that indicates to me, is that capital outflows are starting to happen. And we're starting to see money coming out of those and going into most probably Bitcoin. I mean, somebody's taking profit, of course. But look, I think there's a concerted effort right now, and I think we're about to see the effort right now of this market to pump crypto and get it to that 30,000. I think that's a mental number at this point, right? I think we need to break that. And then, of course, not only break that, but we're going to have to use it as support. So we'll see if we have the ability to do that. And we're going to see it probably pretty soon. Again, the market seems to be doing well. Dow Jones up 150 points already on the day. NASDAQ up 235 points, 1.87%. So NASDAQ's having a massive move on the day so far. That is a significant move that we don't see very frequently. SPY's up 0.5% to 403. Remember, not that long ago, it capped out right at 420, because that's funny because it's weed. But it was over here in that 420 range not that long ago, and it has broken out of that trend line. And we did see that on every one of these, by the way. They all broke out of their little trend lines here, and they're trading above those areas. But we do need to see more significant sort of breakouts at this point. And if risk asset becomes the flavor of the day, then maybe we can just see it happening. Are all those SHIB holders Voyager Wallet? That is entirely possible, because Voyager sold a gigantic amount of SHIB in the open market yet again. And that was over this portion of the month, kind of right here. So they continue to do that. So it's entirely possible that it was Voyager Digital. But the important thing, I think we got a big run coming on Bitcoin. I think ETH gets kind of trailed along with it. I used to think that ETH might take over and start running this market, because it looked for a short while like ETH might be in a position to do something like that. But now I'm not so sure. Like, it's not really playing out that way. It seems to be caught up in the Bitcoin hype. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's certainly moving in a positive sort of direction here. You can see right here, we got this. It's a short-term trend line, by the way, just for me to kind of see where we're going. When we bounced off of this. Oh, by the way, just so you guys know, after we did the trade last night and I made, I think it was like $400, I entered again at 1789 right after we got off, because this came back down. And when it came back down, I was seeing this green, this red that was going to settle like right in this area. So I entered back in again, and then woke up in the middle of the night and it was like at 1806, and I was like, that's about high enough. So I aped back out on that one, and it was like $290 that I ended up making. So what was not a great day overall ended up being a pretty good one, because that put me up like about $800, close to $800, well, close to $700 for the day. So it ended up good after not being so good. to begin with. But I was awake right, like I hit right here. I woke up around 2:30, and when I checked the price right here, by the way, my son's eating food at 2:30 in the morning because he's on spring break. Just like sitting at the table eating at 2:30 in the morning. So anyway, I checked the price. It looks like it's good pump, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna let it ride. And then I was like, you know what? I'm taking my profit when I get the profit. I'm not holding the shit anymore. This is for flipping and making a few bucks. So let's flip it and let's make a few bucks. Now, if you are entering and you are looking to enter, here's what you got to consider right now. This trend line, this trend right here has been pretty solid, and it's basically faced up against this right now. So the most logical path right here would be an entry at this position, right where we are right now, and then ride it up for a little bit. I do think, by the way, that we're going to test this high up here of around 1900. I think we're going to test it pretty soon, like today. I'm not sure, but the logical play out up here is that we have another big test right here. So to me, that looks like a good entry position. Now, here's the problem with that. Let's zoom out, and we're at the top of whatever it is that we're doing. Now, if we're at the top of this kind of move right here, if we're at the top of just basically a bull pennant, if we're at the top of that, then we're going to break to the upside, and that's going to be good, right? However, what if let's go look at Bitcoin. We're not seeing the same thing with Bitcoin. At some point, Bitcoin's going to try to go on a run. Now, if it doesn't survive, then it breaks down, of course. So there's a potential for a couple different things to happen. I'm not comfortable, and I'm not going to. I'm not comfortable getting in at 1802 right now, because the high right now is 1830. Even though over here we've got a little bit higher, but 1830 is that local high, and it looks like we're testing this green line right here. And from 1802 or 1800 to 1823, that's too much risk. That's not enough reward for the amount of risk that you're putting right there. Now, if Ethereum breaks down for me and comes down into one of these other zones, and oh my God, guys, I'm not even kidding here. So I made this bubble last night because we entered at 1791. I got a better position, by the way. After that trade, after we exited that trade, I got into a better position, which is where I made the money last night. But the important thing is, we're going to I would be more comfortable with a move down to 1775. And at this point, I'm not even comfortable with this 50 SMA, which is at 1790, which I think is still going to be in play to make it do a little move back to the upside. So, I'm just going to be playing it by ear, and I'm just going to be watching the capital inflows. I'm going to be watching the market, just kind of getting an idea of what's going on today. I'll probably do some of the 5 minutes. I'll do some of the 10 minutes and 15 minutes and just kind of look at it. You can see right here, like at this moment on the 15-minute, we are respecting this line, this 50 SMA, starting to use it as support. But again, we've reached that breaking point where something's got to happen with this trend line. Either we break this trend line or we pump off of it and we just break later. So something's going to happen pretty soon. So hopefully, no FUD against you guys. I don't want to treat you guys like Binance or anything and fudge you. But hopefully we get a move back down here to 1774, because that right there is my line right now of, I think that if we get down here, that's a good pump, and that's a good day's that's a good move for the day. So I'm looking for an entry point. I don't know what it is yet. I've got some ideas. I want to see how this plays out for a little bit longer before I do anything. And as I'm looking at it, I think we do have at least a trend line starting to form towards that upward path. What do I think of Monopoly? All right, well, let's go check out Monopoly. This is the last one, and we got to go. All right, so 62,000 in liquidity, that makes me nervous. 133,000 total market cap, that makes me nervous. Big pump, big dump, that's the market. So I'm not going to be mad at that. But let's see what it does. Monopoly is a utility-based token built on the Ethereum network. All right. And what does it do? Monopoly was birthed by a group of friends in March of 2023 to rebuild consumer trust and confidence by providing a safe platform where like-minded individuals can come together, inspire each other, and earn passive incomes. Okay, what does it do? To be among the most trusted, inspiring, impactful communities-driven utility token. Okay. I mean, there's a swap here, right? I think that Volti-Change is on here too. Like I feel like this might be Volti-Change that is on here, and if not, they had Volti-Change at some point. So the pillars: transparency, trust, and community. Transparency, open dialogue, and transparency. Okay. Trust. Okay. Community. Okay. Monopoly NFTs. Monopoly NFTs will provide its holders with the ability to gain passive income. At a certain market cap, funds will be used to purchase a real-world business, such as an Airbnb or a storefront. The funds generated from the real-world business will go towards NFT holders and a portion reinvested into the business. Each NFT is unique and guarantees a certain percentage of the utility. The Monopoly NFTs will mint at 0.1 ETH and will be on a first-come, first-served basis. Keep in mind, these NFTs are very limited, making them very rare. Okay, so so far it doesn't do anything, so I don't call it. I'm not going to call it awesome yet. Mall of Monopoly is a digital storefront marketplace allowing users to access the products, goods, and services using crypto and credit card. That's intriguing. Mall of Monopoly is a decent idea there. That's an actual use case and a utility for somebody. A digital marketplace will act as a safe haven to conduct business. A portion of the funds generated from this digital marketplace will go back to Monopoly token holders. I'd like to know the percentages and the pieces here. So I'd like to see the white paper. Where is the white paper? Because we need to know what the amounts are. And there we go, white paper. All right. Don't like the fact that we're stealing somebody's IP. That's never going to end well. Short term, it's okay, but that should be just a placeholder, and you should have your own stuff coming pretty soon. Matter of fact, if anybody wants to, something fairly similar as a parody with a moon head instead of the actual Monopoly Man head would not be the worst thing. There's the dev allocation and the dev wallet. So that increases your transparency. 50 million tokens, 3% buy and sell, 2% marketing. That means max wallet and okay, so that's 3 and 5. It's 5% tax in and out. Roadmap's fairly straightforward. We have the NFTs. So the NFTs for okay, so I don't like the white paper. It's very simple, and I this is this should be fleshed out quite a bit more because it doesn't tell me this doesn't give me any utility. This just tells me what this tells me is this dev team might be a good dev team, by the way. I'm not saying anything about them in a negative fashion, just that I think they're doing this shit on the fly and they don't really know what they want to be. So it seems to me like the NFT program was the first thing. And then somebody realized, hey, you know what we could do? We could create a place where people could come and buy and sell stuff, which kind of dropped here because it's not in the white paper, right? So like it's not even there's I don't see store, Etherscan, gaming, merch drop. No. I mean, you can maybe argue that it was because of merch drop, but merch drop doesn't need a mall. So I think they're doing this on the fly. So again, I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think that they need to flesh this out. And like, if you want to be treated like a pro in the space, act as if you're a pro. Put out some professional looking white papers. Let people know that you're here for the long haul, because this looks to me like at some point it's something could possibly be a negative. Like this looks like it could end up rugging at any point just based on this information. Not that they have any intention to do anything wrong. Just this is the first appearance. Like it's created on a shoestring budget, which is fine. I mean, that's, I'm not a maxi on that. Like if you're creating it on a shoestring budget, then you let people know that, and that becomes part of your culture and everything that you do, and that's perfect. That works great. Score of 93 of 100 on Token Sniffer, which means that there's not very much negative to say about it. So there's adequate liquidity. It's locked until 22 April of 2023. Now that's the first red flag that you would actually say, I'm a little bit nervous about that, because looks like maybe you launched it and then 30 days later you're going to unlock it. And if that's the case, what are you unlocking it for? Right. So, what's the purpose behind doing that? So I would be nervous as an investor that this is not going to sustain itself, and that this could be a rug problem at this point. Like, it's not even 90 days. It's not even, well, and that's what I would tell you too if I was rugging it. I'm not saying, and again, I'm not saying that they're doing that. I'm saying that these are the things that you have to be able to, these are the hard questions that you have to be able to ask about a cryptocurrency. You can't just moon boy something, and, well, even though it's monopoly, I know what I just said there, but you can't just moon boy shit and just be like, oh yeah, everything's going to be fine. We're going to unlock it April 22nd. And then what we're going to do is we're going to relock it for a much longer period of time. Okay. Then why can't you do that right now? Right? Figure it out and solve the problem. This just means to me, like, I would not put money into this right now. Like, that to me doesn't seem like a good move. Now, let me rephrase that. I would put money in. I would not look, if the chart was more active, I would play the chart. Like, if you get a downward position down here and you're down in this level, like, I don't know if this is the best level for a buy. This rounding right here and this pump, this rounding right here, maybe that leads to another pump, but you have to consider at least right here that you're paying 5% in and out. There's the trend line, right, from where it is. So if you're going to do a pump right at this point, then your pump looks like it's going to be 17%. So you're going to be risking, you're going to be risking whatever you invest for a 17% pump that you're going to give 10%, 5% in, 5% out of taxes to. So that's a high risk for 7%. It was a better risk over here, and it's certainly a better risk down here when you're at this point and you're coming up here and it's 40%, because that means that you got a 30% return. And then, of course, over here, you've got the potential for this and this, which is 19%. That's still high risk for low reward. So I wish I could say, I wish I could say something better, because I like these guys, or so far I've liked the community, but like, it makes me nervous. Like, this legitimately makes me nervous that, it can't be sustained, and you certainly can't sustain with $1,000 a day. Like, you gotta, there's got to be some enthusiasm. There's got to be some people coming in and investing, and there's got to be some life, and you can't use existing IP. Like, you got to make some changes. You got to turn pro. So turn pro, and then come back with an even better product, and let's see Monopoly go to the moon, actually. So that's absolutely that's absolutely the best thing that I can say for it. And join the Telegram and watch the videos. That doesn't work that way, man. I think that they are. Again, I'm not saying anything that they're not doing it. I'm saying that I shouldn't have to go to the Telegram. I shouldn't have to go watch the videos. I should be able to go to Monopoly. I should be able to go right here. I should be able to see everything that I need to see. Like, look, pro investors and people who are looking to make a play, they don't look at this and they say, oh yeah, this is going to rock, baby. No, this is Moon Boy stuff, which is cool because it's Monopoly again. But I'm not like, no. I need to know, what is the mall of Monopoly? This says a portion of the funds generated from this digital marketplace will go back to Monopoly token holders. How much? And if it is an amount, why am I not seeing it right here? In order to qualify, a holder must hold a minimum of 0.5% of Monopoly tokens, and that's off of 5%. So I assume that's like 25,000 or 250, something like 25,000. I think, whatever. But what portion? Like, why is it not in the white paper? How is this like you have to be more professional if you want investors. If you want investors, then you have to do it. Thank you for the. Oh God, guys, for those of you that don't know, I've known Diggy here, DoobieTube. I've known him for, it's going on 25 years. He just moved a couple years ago from Alaska, where he was living, because he got kicked out of Denmark, by the way, because he wouldn't pay his Bitcoin taxes. True story. He would not pay his Denmark Bitcoin tax. So he ended up getting kicked out and had to move to Alaska because they were going to freeze him in Kazakhstan or something like that, something with the Russians. And then he moved there. And then him and his wife decided they were moving to Miami. Bienvenido a Miami. So they moved to Miami. So we hooked up literally in a God damn it, where was it? Dairy Queen parking lot, just to high five it out during COVID. Took a picture together, and do you know people bitched at me for not wearing a mask? And I was like, God damn it. It was almost like I didn't share the screen. You know what I mean? So yeah, Diggy and I've been friends for a long time, ever since Butterface. So, but anyway, guys, I got 5 minutes left. I got to get going. So that's what I think of Monopoly. I don't think anything bad. I just think that, you know, dress this up, put this thing together, and you know, turn it into something. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't. You know, I don't know where the money's been spent. I don't know what you guys have done so far, but it looks like there's some opportunity. You just got to flesh it out and turn it into something that people want to invest in. And I can tell you this for sure. Nobody wants to invest the Monopoly with the hat and the mustache. Perfect. Put that on the white paper. Don't leave the IP on the white paper. Like, you guys are on the right track. Just, you know, stick to the track and make the changes. So anyway, this is not financial advice. My name is Believes. I am always right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for the donations. If you become a member of the channel, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. I appreciate you so much, more than I can ever even put into words. That being said, let's remember the one most important thing.
So number one is Sandbox. Number two and number three, some coins I've been talking about a lot and speaking very favorably of, you got to go with FTT.
Did you hear it? Did you hear it? The guy that said he never did it, that's him doing it. So yeah, let's we'll see you guys for bedtime.
Mr. Pine Cones come a long, long way, so everybody get sideways. Sing it.